Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Railworld, where in the previous episode we completed our journey around the Great Lake. The rail lines have been connected up and the Megatrain has been returned to its parking spot, having completely looped around the lake. So we're back working on the main base. We're over in Iron Outpost 2, having put in all the remaining miners we can. And in attempting to go home, I find that there's a little bit of a problem with the rail system that I probably should have fixed earlier on, really. A train can just block the loop and anything trying to get along there just can't. I don't think the only other trains that have ever gone along there have been the ones going to Copper Outpost 4, I think, and very few other things, so it probably didn't affect stuff much, but it will be a nice little help, especially considering that we might now be sending trains up in that direction to go around the Great Lake the other way. Because that's something we've yet to do. I guess we can try that at some point, going clockwise around the thing. So, back in the main base, looking at the Megatrain area, and I realised that, when I originally put this in, I wasn't really thinking about the future. I put the Megatrain in such a place where it can't be extended in any way, and no other trains can be put on the same branch, and otherwise it will be quite a convenient branch to just have various different trains calling their home. But as it is, if we want to make any new trains, we'll have to make new branches, which is what we set off doing. This one is sort of going straight towards the end of the line for Iron Outpost 1, but we can change that. We can move the loop up, because the only reason it was positioned how it was before was because the outpost, the deposit itself was in the way. Now that we've got most of that mined away, there's plenty of space to put it in a more convenient location. So we'll just move it up. We don't even need to complete the loop as well, because the only purpose of this is to turn the trains around anyway. So that sort of saves a bit in terms of signals and stuff like that. But yes, we'll clear away this old loop here, and we can extend out a bit of rail here. There is a little bit of oil stuff in the way, but we'll sort that out by just fiddling about with the pipes a bit, and that should be alright. So yes, this is going to be an area where we have some new trains, and so far there is one train that will be based here, and that is the radar train. We want a train to be loaded up with a bunch of radars, solar panels, walls, ammo, and a bunch of stuff like that, so that we can make our way around the lake and sort of do the next phase of our colonization of it, I guess, and just get the whole thing scanned, or at least attempt to. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible to scan all the way into the center of the lake, because it is really massive, and even though the radar ranges can be quite big, it's probably not enough thinking about it. But the only way to be sure really is to go and test it. So we're going to take the train around. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet. We might have it placing them just at the most sticky out points of the land, or sticky into the lake points of land. Words are hard sometimes. But yes, we'll either do that, or we'll sort of just extend the grid that we already have with our main base. So that might involve too many radars and stuff. Alternatively, we could just make it so that we have radars covering the entire extent of the lake railway, so that we have sort of real-time information about it. We can make sure that there's no biter attacks happening, no biter bases springing up dangerously close to the rails, because a lot of the parts of the rail line at the moment are not being scanned at all. If we have any sort of radar on it at all, then we'll be able to tell whenever there's any sort of advance by the biters. Because of course it's happening all the time. There's more stuff going on near Mega Copper and near the midpoint, but of course we don't know about anywhere else. So it could be that there's places where the biters are already approaching the rails themselves, and we'd have no idea. I think the alarm would go off if it was attacked, but it might not get to that point. It might be that they set up and wait, and then as the train goes past, they jump on it and cause all sorts of trouble, or if just a train stops nearby. So yes, we want to be able to maintain the railway that we've built, or we'll just end up losing it all, and we'd have to do the whole thing all over again if we wanted to keep things working. So we've got the train in place, and we've got the basic structure. We had to do a little bit of messing about with the oil, because there was some oil deposits themselves in the way. So we decided to sort of extend the line a little bit further along, so it would not get in the way of those. We might extend it further later on. It entirely depends on what other trains we're going to be having, and who knows what trains we could end up adding here, because of course we added in the mini train after the mega train. But the mini train can't actually operate unless the mega train isn't present. This is something I didn't really realise until I was working on this, that actually I can't use the mini train for anything unless, well, its only purpose really is to call it in while the mega train is out and I'm with the mega train. Actually, it can leave its station, it could just not return until the Mega Train is moved. It's very awkward, really it's a bad idea, and maybe I'll move it to be based over here if I'm going to use it again, but I probably don't need to. We've got other trains that run over to the midpoint that we can probably make use of one way or another to deliver some other gubbins. We've got stone and coal and I guess, well, copper's going over, but that's going over from the Mega Copper base anyway. So we're sorting out what the train will carry. We're trying to get all the ratios and stuff right, because for each one radar, by the way, we're going to be using our sort of standard defensive or defended radar stations, where we have a couple of guns and some walls and such. So yes, for each one radar, we will need one power pole, 2 turrets, 5 solar panels, and then I believe it's something like 38 walls, and then if we're going to do the standard 25 ammo per gun, we'll need 50 ammo per outpost. So we've got quite a lot of ammo. We've loaded, I think, an entire cargo wagon with them, though I realise I forgot about walls, so I'll have to do some rejigging with that and make some space for the walls. We don't need quite as many walls as we do with the ammo, but it's fairly close, so I'm trying to sort of work out the all the ratios and things like that. We've got enough space for 2 stacks of radars, and I imagine that'll be more than enough to build as many radar stations as we want, unless we're going for the full extend the entire grid around the lake, which might get a bit tedious. It'll probably still be quicker than the journey around the lake itself, just because we don't have to constantly well, we might have to constantly deal with biters depending on how much they've advanced, but it'll probably be quicker because we just need to like quickly run to each spot, use the bots to build all the stuff in like the space of 2 seconds, and then move on. Though we would need to make sure our inventory is kept supplied. We'd have to keep getting more stuff out of the train itself. Also, there's an issue in how we're going to park the train, because we're going to be stopping at all sorts of random points along the line, including between the main base and Megacopper, and indeed between Megacopper and the midpoint, where there's a lot of trains trying to get through. Even if we stopped in at a passing point, it would just mean that trains could go one way and not the other, and it would probably very shortly result in a complete shutdown of the rail system that would have to be fixed by like reversing trains out of the way and things like that, which would not be fun. So I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We might just like keep building extra little sidings that the train can hop into or something like that. I guess maybe it could use a passing point, and then other passing points would maybe work still. Maybe we'd need chain signals involved. Who knows? Adding chain signals would be a help with the passing point system. The only thing is it slows it down even more than it already is in terms of... It's not that slow at the moment. A train only has to stop once or twice on its way along. But the more trains there are, the more chance there is of a sudden shutdown entirely of the system, which could be prevented by having some chain signals in place. Anyway, we've set up the automatic loading system for that train now, so we can just leave that to go, and it'll take however long it takes. Once it's ready, we'll set off, and in the meantime, we can get some work done in the main base. So I'm over at the Iron Outpost, because I'm going to do a little bit of a rejig to its current cracking system. So far, whenever we wanted to change the amount of, change the rate of cracking, we've got to switch the chemical plants on and off, and it's not a very good system. We often come back to find it completely broken, and indeed it's completely broken right now, because we have completely full tanks of petroleum gas, while the light and heavy oil tanks are completely empty. So what we need to do, well, what I would normally do is switch off a bunch of the cracking plants that crack light oil into petroleum gas, and maybe also some that turn heavy oil into light oil. I don't know if that would be needed, but there is a better way to do it. I'm trying to implement it, but I realise I've got it completely wrong. I disconnected a bunch of pipes that I actually don't want to change, because what I want to be changing are the inputs to the chemical plants. So we'll go around to this side, and what we do is just disconnect the supply pipes from all of the tanks. So now there isn't a connection. We'll need to make a new one. And what we'll do is we'll have it run through a pump. So I've made a couple of electric pumps, and we can have it so that the light oil can only get into the cracking plants via one of those. And then what we'll do is we'll connect it up using some green wires or red wires, it doesn't really matter which, to the tanks of the inputs and outputs of the chemical plants. And we're going to do some actual wiring, which is something I don't think I have yet done in Railworld. I have done this system in Living with Biters, but we'll implement it in this one as well, where it is just as much needed, if not more, because we're quite often away from the oil production for an extended period of time. So what I've done is I've connected the pumps up to the inputs and the outputs, and then what I've said is that the pump should only operate when there is less petroleum gas than light oil. And then I'll set this one up here to say that it should only operate when there is less heavy oil than light oil. And what this means is that the chemical plants will only operate to sort of balance out the levels. At the moment, the pumps are not allowing anything through because there is less in the way of light oil than petroleum gas and less heavy oil than light oil. And they will continue to not run until finally the levels equal out, and as soon as that happens, they'll start running at the level necessary to keep them equal, roughly. There'll be a little bit of leeway here and there depending on how much is processed in an amount of time and the time it takes for the chemical plants to operate, but basically now the oil fraction levels will always be even unless some really weird stuff happens, like stupid amounts of lubricant being created and using up all the heavy oil or something like that. So we don't actually need to switch off or on any of the chemical plants anymore. We can just have them all on, and they will only run when fed, and they'll only be fed when it is a good time to operate. So there we go. The circuit system it's a very useful thing, and it's something I've sort of neglected so far. There are all sorts of things you can do with it to make sure that levels of different materials stay nice and even. And a lot of clever things you can do with it as well, particularly since the 0.12 update. There's a lot more stuff you can do, because you can hook them up to lights now and make lights switch on and off according to signals. And of course combinators came along, allowing you to do all sorts of modifications to signals. And so now people can make all sorts of crazy things, like moving signs with writing on them and stuff like that. At one point I was trying to make a trading system that I never sort of got anywhere with, but I think I might go back to that at some point and demonstrate it. It's a way of sort of making some, like, I'll explain it when the time comes. It's a trading system. It does trading things. It can only trade one thing at once though. But yes, anyway, we're working on the factory. We're putting in a bunch more in the way of concrete flooring, because just like whenever the bots have nothing to do, it's a good idea just to give them that to do. We'll just try and get everything floored, because there's no reason not to. The pollution's never going to get over to where the biters are, because there's just so much land in between us and them, and so little. Well, I say so little pollution being produced. That's not really the case anymore, because of course in the oil system we're now using ridiculous amounts of level 3 productivity and speed modules, and they're making everything go a little bit crazy there. So like 90% of our power production is going into keeping the oil system operational, or something stupid, I imagine. But it's alright, because there's just so much distance between us and the biters that we will never actually cause them any worry unless they were to advance themselves a fair bit. I don't think it's physically possible with all the machinery I have to create enough pollution to get over there anyway. Though we'll not sort of challenge it to do that. I imagine the factory's not often going to be running at full pelt again anyway, because it's not got a mega train to load. It's not got a bunch of signs to do. I mean, maybe the mega train will get maybe one or two more reloadings yet. I think I've got one more big task for it to do. Maybe for now anyway. There might be other things that come up as time goes on. But yes, I'm making my way around the factory, checking up on the supplies of the various different materials we need for the radar train, because I'm just sort of making sure that the production rates are going alright, because some things have run out, other things haven't, and it's a good way of telling sort of how long it will take for the train to be loaded, and it's a good way to check like if there's any particular thing that's going to be massively limiting it. So anyway, we've made our way over to said train. We find that at the moment it's not going so great in terms of ammo loading. There's only it's only half done. I mean, the half done is good, but we did already have a lot of ammo in storage, so it might take a while yet. I think we've got... I'm not sure if we have one or... yeah, we've got one assembler working on it, which is not really enough. We've got a bunch of other ammo assemblers, but they're all working on feeding Defender capsule production. So there's not actually that much that can go into loading a train. Also, I realised that we didn't actually have any requester for solar panels, unfortunately. So I'll put that one in. Well, I have put that one in. So it will take a little bit longer, because the solar panels are one of the slower things to be produced. They also have only one assembler working on them. But we'll get there. So for now, we'll see about improving the ammo, because really we should have had at least 2 assemblers on this anyway. Probably 2 assemblers on the shotgun ammo as well, really. Because we do get through it quite fast at times. But so far the shotgun ammo seems to have been working alright anyway. But yes, added in a second one, that'll speed things up nicely. And I also grabbed a bunch of spare ammo from the Defender capsule supply just because it was just hanging around, and that'll help sort of get things moving. And the limiting factor is probably going to be the solar panel production anyway, because we're wanting 10 stacks of that, and we had probably 2 in storage. So yes, that's going to take a while. Checking up on the destroyer drones, that's all going well. I think we're nearly up to 10 stacks now in the Mega Train, which is excellent. And we'll probably never... Well, we'll not use that for a very, very long time. We may even get to the point, like not too far from now, where we actually finish Defender capsule production, which will be quite sad, because that'll mean that there are times when the factory is just completely dead again, potentially. I'm not completely sure of that. I guess they'll... Will there still be power production? I guess there won't even be power production because it's all solar power. So yeah, there might even be a point where the factory stops working entirely, at least for a time, until I've used up a bunch more stuff. But I am going to give it some more jobs yet. I've got some supplied stuff that it can be dealing with. But yes, we'll check up on the solar panels. I think there might have actually been 5 stacks of storage there, which is good, so that'll speed things up nicely. I do a bit of number crunching in my head to find out how long we have left in terms of the... like how long it'll take for the remaining solar panels to be made. And at the time I worked out how long it would take, but I've since forgotten entirely, so who knows. I don't think it's going to be this episode, but next episode I imagine it'll all be ready and we'll be good to go with our next journey around the lake, and we can check up on our way with Megacopper and Midpoint, see how they've been running, because it's been a while since we've been there. I don't think we've been back to them yet since returning. No, we definitely haven't, because we only returned like in the middle of last episode. So yeah, the Megacopper might not be doing so well. We wouldn't be sure. So we'll probably need to... In fact, I should probably take some miners with me. I wasn't going to do that, but yes, I think I'll take some miners, some extra efficiency modules and things like that, just to make sure that everything's going well there. So anyway, I've decided to add on an extra cargo wagon to this train here, because I realised there's a couple of more things we're going to need. We're going to need some ammo and some destroyer drones, because there's going to be barges to deal with. As we're passing by places, we'll realise that they've been advancing a bit more, so we'll want to be pushing them out a bit. So that's all ready to go. But yes, we're going over to Iron Outpost 1, where we've decided to do a bit of an overhaul. Things are not going like particularly fast. Even though there's not much of the outpost left, the what is left is quite condensed, so the miners were going to take a very long time to get through it. So I decided I'm just going to speed it up, I'm going to get it finished, because Iron Outpost 1 running at really slow speeds is not really that useful. So I'm just going to cram a bunch of miners in. I realise now I could have actually made it a bit more efficient, have the outer ones facing outwards and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter too much. We're just getting it mined nice and fast. We've now got, I think, 30 miners working on it, and we previously had like 8 or whatever. So this should burn through it pretty quickly, and in the meantime, the supply of iron from here will actually be pretty decent, because this is like more on par with what the trains are expecting to be delivered. We do end up running out of blue belts though, so we'll make our way back to the main base. For some reason we're not being delivered them. I think the bots may have been too busy with some other tasks or something. There was possibly quite a bit of delivery to do for the radar train, which probably resulted in a lot of the logistics bots being over by the train and taking a while to get back up to me to deliver me stuff. So I went and manually grabbed it anyway, and then got delivered some stuff anyway. So now we can finish what we were doing up here. We'll just have it merge onto one belt, so I don't think it's too much for that. We'll just rejig this stuff here to line it up nicely, and this should mean that the trains are going alright for a while. As it is, Iron Outpost 2 seems to be dealing with the iron situation fine, but this will just sort of clear up Iron Outpost 1 and free up space for more trains to move, because it'll mean that there's only the trains going from Iron Outpost 2 to other places, rather than 2 trains going to the main base and to the circuit base. And then we can start looking at finding Iron Outpost 3. There are quite a few places already where we can do it. There's quite a few iron deposits that are not too far from here, so that's quite nice. But yes, another check of the radar train. We've also got 5 standard stacks of ammo in there as well, in case we need a couple more for the turrets. And that should even out more the ratios of stuff. I don't think we'll be building a full 100 radar stations anyway, but it's always good to be prepared, and we can use that train later on. So yes, checking up on the circuit outpost, because of course with Iron Outpost 1 not going so great, you'd expect it to not be doing so well, but actually it's fine really, so yeah, we'll just carry on. There's just not that much in the way of circuit consumption right now, but we'll see about giving the outpost a bit more work to do later on. Anyway, I try giving the bots a bit more work to do in terms of flooring. Unfortunately, they don't manage to do it all in one fell swoop, which is always nice. But they get it done pretty quickly anyway. So yeah, we'll give them a bit more to do, and then we'll leave them to do that. Grab a bit more ammo just to speed up loading of the train, loading of the train, because we've got a bit more ammo for it. But I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.